Welcome to my channel. Everybody, it's me. I forgot my name. Jazzy Marie. You're probably like, wow, why would you come on my screen looking like that though? Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I well, as you can see, I dyed my hair blonde not too long ago. But I dyed my hair not too long ago. Well, long enough to dye it again. And I want to do kind of like a get ready with me, but we're kind of in a pandemic. So instead, I'm going to do a DMHWM. Do my hair with me while I tell you about my journey of how I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Stick around. We're gonna go into, let's see, we're gonna do a burgundy blaze. But just stick around. And you see my eyebrows coming back, y'all. Ooh. Bow. I've already started the back part, I didn't really put in how everything was mixed together and stuff. I'm not a hairstylist and I don't want you coming back saying, my hair fell out. Don't put that on me. So you follow instructions, read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the front, but while I'm doing the front, I'm going to just kind of, talk to y'all a little bit. So basically, it was like a few years ago. It was probably back in 2017. This initially started. I dropped like a drastic amount of weight. Like I just got like super skinny out of nowhere. I remember I got sick. I had just started a job. So actually no, it was probably like in 2015. I had just started a new job and I got like super sick. And I'm like, what in the world? Cause I go and I get annuals. I go to the doctor. I got insurance. I use it. So I'm like, well, what is happening? What is going on? I dropped the weight. I went to the doctor. She didn't say anything about it. I felt like I felt a lump in my breast because she had always been, for some reason, she was very adamant about me, about breast care and making sure that you're aware of anything that's going on. So I felt a lump in my breast. I brought it up to her, while I was going for my regular doctor's appointments. Also, when I would go in for my regular checkups, for my, annual checkups, she was like, oh, it's nothing, it's normal. The normal that my doctor was referring to was having fibrocystic breast tissue, which just simply means you have denser breast tissue. Didn't think anything of it. So, fast forward 2 years later, I'm working, life is normal, and I'm working another job now. So I have my regular, 9 to 5, and then I have my job. I was working at the hospital. So I'm doing a lot of manual labor. And so after baby, it was almost a year. I would think I have been working there for over a year. And I was just working on the weekend. So I'm going straight from work. I get off and then I will jump right into working at the hospital at night. So it will be, Friday night, I'm going to work and I will go in like around 11 o'clock or something like that. So I was doing that every weekend. And so it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was nice. I was getting a lot of extra work done because, in between time when I wasn't having to do my job and I got a little downtime, I could do stuff for me and I was up. So I was like, oh, I like this. I realized over time that number one, I used to exercise. I would usually go to the gym when I get off of work. I would go into the gym in the afternoon. And when I first started working at the hospital, I would go into the gym when I would get off of work in the morning. And I'm like, oh, like it's just like really hard for me to lift my arms, my legs. I'm like, I must be just really tired, from just working so much. My muscles are tight. I have to be tired from working so much. I'm like, I just need to get more rest. So I'm sleeping more. As soon as I'm getting off work, I'm like, I'm not about to hang out. So that's what I do. I start going to sleep when I get home. And not hanging out, not, doing. I do that and nothing changes. I realize I'm at work now on the weekends. My 9 to 5, I'm sitting at a desk, but on the weekends, I'm actually doing manual labor. So I do that. So I have to bend down. I have to pick up stuff. I have to, move around a lot. And I'm realizing when I bend down, like, oh, it's taking me a long time to get back up. Like, I've never had issues where I bend down and can't get back up. Honey, I was in college. I turned up. I could drop it low, girl. I could drop it low. But I'm like, why am I struggling like this? I'm like, I'm only 20 something.
Mind your business.
And my body shouldn't be acting like this. So I'm all like, something's up. I eventually end up quitting my job. I quit the job and I started taking my time, kind of just really chilling and stuff like that after I get off of work, kind of de-stressing myself, doing stuff that makes me happy. And so I'm, like, okay, well, I'm going to get healthier now because I done quit this job. I'm not in the hospital around, other sick people. Yeah, right. So I realized, oh, no, nothing's changed. And so during this time, I'm having a lot of issues. My muscles are getting super weak. I'm falling. I'm in a lot of situations I can't get up on my own. I might just be stuck on the floor, and I'm doing a lot of crying because I'm like, why is this happening? And I'm so young. And I eventually go to the doctor about my muscles being really weak, and so she refers me to a rheumatologist. So I go to the rheumatologist, and he's like, oh, based off of what I'm seeing, this is without doing a biopsy or anything like that. Based off of what I'm seeing, I'm diagnosing with polymyositis. It's an inflammation of the muscles. Your immune system is attacking your muscles. It's causing it to break down, and your muscles therefore become very weak. So, I mean, most people, they might just leave it at that, like, oh, I guess I'll just be on this medication. And I decided I'm going to do some research. I need to find out more about this. How did this just come about? I've never heard of anybody in my family ever having polymyositis. Like, what is this? I met with the rheumatologist, like, later on down the line. And I met with him, and I asked him, I said, well, where does this come from? Where does this come from? Like, not only was I having this muscle breakdown, but over the span of these years, starting from 2015, I also experienced Bell's palsy. And of course, like I said, I had this dramatic weight loss. Like, in Bell's palsy, if you don't know, basically it can paralyze your face. Everybody's experience is different, but it did paralyze half of my face, and it went away after a week. Thank God, because sometimes it can last for months, it can last for years. But I was experiencing all these things that were very abnormal. I had never seen this happen to, anybody in my immediate family, at least. So I'm like, something is wrong. Eventually, I started looking for other doctors. I'm looking for a new doctor now. Because, oh, you know what? I never even finished what I was saying with the rheumatologist. I asked him, I said, well, where does this come from? This just comes out of nowhere? Like, how do people develop polymyositis? And he was like, people who are 31 and over, which I wasn't 31 at the time, 31 and over, they develop it. And, it can just come out of nowhere. No. The research I did, it stated that people who usually were 31 and up can develop it out of nowhere. When I asked the doctor, he said it can come out of nowhere, or it can be from cancer in the body. I said, what? Come again and say what? Did you say it can be from cancer in the body? Okay, so automatically I said, I need to find me a doctor who is going to actually say, hey, you need to get a mammogram. So I started looking for doctors. Eventually, my doctor finds out that I'm looking for doctors. And by the time she finds out, I'm sitting there doing my annual. And she's like, oh, were you trying to get another doctor? And I was like, well, I'm kind of already up on the table. If you can just go ahead and do the exam, can you please set me up to get a mammogram or something? I mean, I understand on the medical side of it, she was saying I was too young. Because typically with insurance, they will not cover you unless it's like a serious situation. They won't cover you if you're under a certain age. And 30 is way too young, and I was not even 30 yet. So they're like, she just didn't think that it was cancer. She just thought it was something else. So eventually she went ahead and ordered the mammogram. So I went and had the mammogram. I went and had the mammogram. The doctor calls me back. He's like, I want to do a biopsy. We did see a spot, so we want to go and see someone. Like, I saw a spot. What are you telling me right now? I mean, what? What spot? What you mean you see a spot? So now I do go and I do the biopsy, and now they're like, okay, we're gonna see what's going on. They go ahead and test it, do all of that. And so I get a call while I'm at work. And I also didn't tell y'all, in between all this, before I actually went to the point where I got the biopsy, I went and got some blood work done, and my levels were through the roof. And my doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital right now, because they were like, either you're having heart failure or your liver is shutting down. Something's shutting down right now, and you need to get to the hospital. So of course I'm panicking because I'm no doctor, and I'm like, what is going on in my body, and why are you telling me this? I mean, I know something's wrong, but now you're really scaring me because I don't know what is wrong. So all this happened after I've been in the hospital. I get the biopsy. I'm sitting at work. I'm just working, and I get a phone call. The phone call from my doctor, from the doctor who did the biopsy. And so he says, are you busy right now? Just need to talk to you and I tell you something. And so I'm like, what you got to tell me? Like, why are you talking to me like this? And so he says, well, I just want to let you know the spot that we found, it was cancerous. And we just want to let you know, you go ahead and take the proper steps to get everything checked out and, come out of that. Well, not come out of it, but get everything checked out to move forward in your, in this diagnosis. It wasn't really a diagnosis, but to move forward in everything that's going on, make a decision on what you're going to do. Once they first diagnosed me, when he called me when I was at work, I immediately broke down because, I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? Because I don't know anything now. This is all I know is that you found something in my body and it definitely is cancer. What I definitely did not want. So, oh man, after that, after you get with that initial situation, you dealt with that. Hello, hello, hello. So, update in my diagnosis. Apparently, I do have cancer. It's just kind of weird, saying that. But I thank God for healing. Thank God for full restoration. I contacted my family members. I let them know I left from work that day. I think I was so hysterical. I ended up leaving from work, which you will have every right to be hysterical. I ended up leaving work early, and I called my best friend, and she said, okay, well, I'm headed over. We went and we got something to eat, and we kind of just talked about it. And from there, I kind of had to just start making some decisions. And eventually, that led up to me actually being diagnosed with HER2 positive, well, let me say stage 2 HER2 positive breast cancer. And it was aggressive. So initially, when I started seeing an oncologist, a cancer doctor, the first thing they were telling me was like, this, you need to start treatment immediately. So, well, I did what I had to do. I got all my stuff, got all my ducks in a row. Took kind of everything I knew I was going to need to take care of before I went through a period where I was not going to be able to be out amongst people or be out doing anything. And that was kind of my journey of how I found out that I had cancer. And I'm gonna come back. I'm sorry. Boom. I just want to do the reveal with you all because I don't know what it looks like. Oh, okay. Let's see. Y'all. Oh my goodness. It looks amazing. I actually love this. I love it. Look at that. From the rooter to the tutor. This is beautiful. I think this is beautiful. I was looking at the mirror, but I had to check myself out. I'm back. I'm finished. Some key things I kind of just wanted to say. Make sure you are on top of, number one, your physician. Your physician has other patients outside of you. And so you want to make sure that you are not being neglected and everything that's going on with you is being heard. That's number one. Number two, listen to your body. When your body tells you something is going on, listen to it and respond. I just always want to do that. Welcome to my channel.